key, never mind. So I did that. So I sent the message about the type I changed in OA verify. So wait 1 second. Shut up, Telegram. Okay, so basically what I did, I just changed the type for OpenAttestation hash fragment and the OpenAttestation DNS text fragment. So what I did, I created very specific type for each case. So basically we have 4 cases. We have a valid fragment, we have an invalid fragment, we have an error fragment, and we have the skip fragment. So basically skip fragment will always be the same. That means that the verifier didn't run. The verification didn't run. Valid means, of course, that the verification method ran and was valid. Invalid mean, okay, for me it means I ran, but I found that what you wanted to know is invalid. So for instance, in the case of OpenAttestation hash, it means that the document has been tampered. And the error is a bit like invalid, but for me it's more subtle. It means that I ran, but something unexpected happened. So for instance, we can imagine like here you see we are using the optional chaining. Let's say we don't use it and you provide an empty document, then here it will throw an error and the error will be propagated. Okay, so that's the use case for the error. So what I did first is that I created those different kind of fragments. So like this one is for valid, blah blah blah. Why is it called valid here? So this one is invalid, of course. We have the error and we have the skip. So I created the 4 different types like this. I did something simple at first, like a valid can have data, because in our verification we always put data. In the case of OpenAttestation hash, we don't put a lot, we just say whether it's true or false. What can I see? Data hash. So hash is just a boolean saying whether it's true or false. But for instance, for the DNS text, it's a bit more complicated. Usually we return the entity that we resolved. For instance, this is in the case of the verification v3. So we will return the value of the location. So it will be example.trace.io and the value of the document store or the token registry that we use. Okay, so we added that. Actually, it's mainly just in case people want to reuse the values and so on and so forth. Okay, so far? Great. So I created this. So I created these types, these 4 types that you can extend that represent the 4 kind of the 4 status. So one for valid, one for invalid, one for error, and one for skipped. So that means previously, what happened is we have just one interface, and the issue with that interface is that eventually you would have a valid fragment with a reason. But we only use the reason when something is wrong. So that means that if your fragment is valid, you will not have a reason. It won't tell you, hey, it failed because blah blah blah. So now with this suggestion, we have really the 4 kind of represent of results with the correct data that will be inside. So when a fragment is valid, the status will always be valid, always, of course, and then eventually you will have some data. The data here is a generic value because it will depend on the verification method. For invalid and error, it's same, sort of. Just the status will change. Both will have a reason to tell you what was wrong. And then eventually, you will have a data, additional data. Actually, here it's mandatory, but it will depend whether we need it everywhere. So eventually, you will have additional data. Just in the case of error, so for the moment, it's something that is generic, but actually, because it's error that we catch from eventually any library that we use, I found that I was using actually just any, because I'm not sure of the type that I will receive. And I actually have no really way to know the type unless I create an error type where I, for instance, when you throw an error, most of the time you will have just the message here, but eventually, if you can extend this and add more than just the message. So eventually I need a unified interface for this, but I don't care much for the moment. Okay, so this is the error. And the skipped. So same for the skip, we had the reason of why we skipped. This is just to display some information, but it's not very useful. So I did that, and then I changed this. So a verification fragment in the end is just something with a name, a type always, and a status. So status will be valid, invalid, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually you will have specification of this verification fragment. So is now valid, invalid, error, skipped. And this is what our verify function will always return, even if it's not completely true, because actually we will never return a skipped fragment from this method. But it's okay, it's not a problem. So with this, what I've been able to do is I've been able to correctly type what your verify function will return. So for instance, here I have my open attestation verifiers with my two verification methods. So I build, so that's how the library works. So I build my verifier with these verification methods. And here in my fragment, so it will correctly type which kind of fragment I could receive. For instance, here you can see it can be either an open attestation hash valid or invalid, or it can be an error, and so on and so forth. And basically it will give you all the different combination possible. So that means that for each verification method, you will have sort of 4 different results: valid, invalid, skipped, and error. Okay. So I've been able to do that with this this little trick. So last time I asked a question, it's like because I was stuck. I had that problem where actually I was not able to. So it was here. I was not able to automatically infer the return type depending on the input. So I had that issue that I shared, and then I showed the result, which was this wonderful thing. So I just want to share a bit about that, so that you just are not too much scared about what this thing is doing. First, there is this notation, T of verify. This is very simple, is that you can create a type from the property of another type. To have something, for instance, if I have a verification fragment, yeah, I just select the status, and this X will really have just the type of this property. Okay, so that means that here I just select a property from a generic type. Very simple. Then we have the return type. Return type is something in TypeScript that will just give you the return type of a function. So let's say if I do this return type of fn, how do you
fn type of,
yes, right, type of. And okay, so I really have the return type of my function. So something very simple. Then I have this something that I call promise value, which is a simple utility that I wrote to get the type of a promise. Because when you have a promise, for instance, const x promise dot resolve for. Basically, the type here will be promise of number, right? This is a promise that my promise is a wrapper for a number. This is exactly what this utility does. This utility means if my type is a promise, then I ask TypeScript to compute for me which kind of, what the wrapped value type is. And so if this is a promise, it will return me the wrapped type value. And if this is not a promise, it will just return me nothing. So this is the kind of, okay, I forgot to say that this is a return type is available in TypeScript. Promise value is something that could be available in TypeScript. For instance, something that you can find in some library helpers. But I just wrote mine because I just wanted to make sure that it was working. And then I wrapped this with a promise. The thing is that there was something weird here. Actually, when I was doing some tests, I could just have used this. Because basically what I want is that for any verification method, I want to tell that my return type will be the return type of the verify method. So a promise here, or it will be the return type of skip. And skip is also a promise. But for some reason, I don't know why, it's not able to infer it. And basically, when you write this directly, it will mix the order of the array. So instead of having an array of something, I have something as an array, which is not what I want. So that's why actually I added just this helper, just to reverse the order and make it correct. So I think there is a TypeScript bug. I couldn't find anything in the documentation, but if you don't use a promise, this works. This works directly, and you don't need to add this wrapping with a promise value and with a promise. Okay, so now we have fragments that are correctly typed. So the question is, how can we use them? So I created this type guard. So you know, a type guard is something that it's a function that will help you to infer correctly the type in a specific branch. So for instance, here, that type guard, if it's valid, it will guarantee me that all the fragments inside are either valid fragment or a skip fragment. Because it's something that you must know in OEverify. And in OEverify, when your result is valid, it can be composed of a mix of valid and skip fragment. So that means that with this helper, for instance, it doesn't do anything, right? TypeScript doesn't care about the implementation. It just cares that if it's true, then it will automatically infer the type. So with this helper, I'm able here to just say, okay, just filter me whatever is valid and whatever is skipped. So that means that you can see here that all the fragment type that I have are either valid fragment or skip fragment. So you can see open attestation hash valid, valid verification fragment v2, and skip verification fragment. Okay. And then we can also go further, and then we can also write this kind of other type guard, which just tell you, okay, basically, okay, I think the name is wrong because it will depend on the usage, on the use. The question is, how do we use this? For instance, if you write get open attestation hash valid fragment here, that means that you expect already to receive a valid fragment. But like I mentioned just before, actually here it could be eventually skipped. So that means that it's potentially not correct. So for me, a more correct usage of this, I thought about that after, is actually just to write a function that will return you the fragment, whatever its status. Export. Import. So here I will have it as any kind of open attestation fragment, and then you can write like a switch case, switch or if, whatever, and then you can write like is valid. And you can pass your valid fragment, and then we can imagine like is valid tree. Is valid tree, which will be a function that take one fragment, which is any, and which will say fragment is status. Okay, for instance, okay, we can imagine that. Actually, this is better. Something like this. Okay, sorry, valid2, blah, blah, blah. To mean here that fragment is valid2. And I don't need to skip. Blah, 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 tac. Return true. Okay, don't care. And here I just need to infer. Okay, like this. I should have just copied this. It would have been faster. V and is valid2 of V. Okay, I don't know if this will work, but we can try. It's another example. Tac, tac, tac. Const x equal valid fragment. So what will happen here? Okay, it looks correct. It tells me that it's an open attestation valid fragment, while here it was an open attestation hash verification fragment. So that means that here, with just this function that will just infer, depending on the status, I will be able to just directly get the correct type of my fragment. So you can see for the hash, the data is supposed to be always true, because when it's valid, the data will be true. And that means that, for instance, for more complex fragment, I will have the correct structure in that branch. Okay, I know it's complex. Maybe you're all dead because I can't hear any sound. But do you have questions? Do you have any thoughts on this? Are you all dead?
That's cool. That's cool, but it looks like black magic.
Okay, actually, there is not much black magic. The main magic, it's the one I showed, is this one, which is a bit complex. I can understand, like, what the fuck, especially because of this shit. If it was just this, it would be very simple, because here it just say, hey, just return me the type of verified, which is fine. But because there is a combination of array and promise, for some reason it's not I think there is, it's like I said, it's probably a bug in TypeScript. I'm really sure that it's a bug in TypeScript, but it's really just make it more complex. And the problem, actually, we can show it here. If I keep it like this, it will think that actually it's a promise of promise or something like that. For instance, I do fragments dot fragment.type. Yes, it's not an array here in that case, which is weird. Actually, no, it's because it's supposed to be an array like this. Because I have an array of verifiers now. And it's really here, then it's like, hey, you're supposed to return something, but no. Anyway, so yeah, this part is a bit black magic. The rest is just about type guards. Like I mentioned, so these are invalid type guards, but it's okay. This is, does everybody knows what this means?
Conditional types.
Yes,
Right.
it's conditional types. It's a bit like the infer that I made here. It's actually it's exactly that, the infer. It's like, if this condition is true, then I want you to return that type. Otherwise, I want you to return never. Okay? It's just something that like that is just to narrow down the types. And basically that means that if something is does not extend that condition, then it will be never. And basically when TypeScript will just narrow down all the different types, it will see never, and something that can that is never used, so it will just get rid of it. So basically that's what is done here. So for instance, it means if it's a fragment that is valid, return the type of the fragment. Otherwise, if it's a fragment that is skipped, same, return the type of the fragment. Otherwise, just get rid of it. I think this is not too advanced level. Maybe, of course, it's an advanced feature, but it's quite simple to understand and use. But yeah, there's this, which is black magic. So for the question I asked last time, it was like, how do you feel? Do you feel that you would use the library that way, or how do you think that you use the library that this suggestion does not cover?
So can you repeat the question again? I couldn't get it.
The question is for in terms of user point of view, developer point of view. Like as a user of OA Verify, do you feel that, for instance, this is valid, is useful? Or do you feel that, for instance, I am in my merge request, I made a comment like, I don't think that this one is very useful, because it narrows down the fragment types by skipping all the valid and invalid, and all valid and skip, sorry. But then what do you do with that? It's like, okay, you know that you have only valid and skipped fragments, but is it really useful? Like, are you going to do something with that? And I feel that no. For instance, for me, if I go up, I do that, it will be the same, right? It's like, here I can just ask, give me the fragment for the verification hash. So here I will have all the different fragment type. So from valid, invalid, skipped, error. And then with just that is valid, here I will just infer directly to the valid fragment for the hash, which I think this is more interesting than the first is valid that I wrote. Right? So basically the kind of feedback I'm looking for is, how would you use and how do you use this eventually in the different products that way?
I think it's a bit hard for people here to give feedback, because I don't think anyone's written their own verifier except maybe me and Raymond.
Yes, that's why it's good to dig into it and discover how it works, see how it's already used, and so on and so forth. That's why I wanted to share during a technical session, and that's why I asked many people to have feedback, and that's also why I'm waiting for feedbacks, because if I do something that I think is good, but in the end is not good, that's useless. I'm wasting my time, and then you will waste your own time, and we can just continue using the library the way it is now. I can just add types here, and that's done. Right.
Does it protect against the case where we're checking an empty array? You remember that
Yes, because the implementation is not correct, but this implementation should return you. Actually, wait, empty array. So that means that you have no verifier. Okay, I think it's different because here you will have unknown because you didn't provide any verifier here. The thing is that TypeScript.
Yeah, TypeScript is at compile time, it's not at runtime. So does it pick up the possibility that it might if you put in an empty array of issuers, for example?
Yes.
You get what I mean?
No, because it's different. Because the issuer will happen. Actually, it's the other thing I work on. The issuer is related to the shape of the data, and for now, we don't. We have this utility here that is not correct, which I'm working on as well in another merge request. So for the question, I think this is a bit different because this is how we build the application. So I don't
think it's that different because if the type system is powerful enough, then it should be able to pick up that when there's the possibility that it picks up as an input, right? And that it has a possibility of having an empty array.
Wait, do we allow empty array first?
We should.
We do. Actually, I would be more scared about how isValid all isValid is working with empty array. I wonder how it works. Like if you have no fragment, I think it will fail. Deserve to try. But yeah, you see, currently it will be inferred to unknown. But there is something that TypeScript will not be able to help you for that. Is that here, this function is supposed to return you hash valid fragment. So either you always think that you will have it, and then it's fine. Either you don't trust it, and you just say it's either this or null. And then you're good. Because here you will have the null fragment, the fragment that eventually does not exist. And then that means that your function here must be able to support null like this, yes, and then you're good. But yeah,
so I guess
it's doable.
For us to evaluate if this would be useful, we're just basically asking a question of what kind of mistakes this will catch, right?
Yes.
I don't have the answer for it right now.
This helps especially. Okay, usually we don't use much the types except for the status, because eventually we show the loading stuff. So eventually we want to know that the document hash is invalid. So we use the status for that. So that means that in that case it's correctly inferred. But so far I'm not sure that we inferred correctly the data. I'm not sure that we ever used the data, but with this, at least the data will be correctly typed. I changed, for instance, the open attestation DNS. And now I'm sure that, so here I created some types just to make sure that when it's valid for v2, I return always an array of issuer valid identity. And just with that plus the correct definition here, I'm sure that when I return valid fragment here, for instance, it will be correct. So for instance, if I change this to invalid, boom, it will complain. And at least we are sure that on our side that our types are correct. When we have something that is valid, It's supposed to have a location and a value. When it's what did it do? When it's invalid, for instance, here it's complaining because it expects a reason, which is like below. So at least with this, we are sure that what we are doing is correct. Yep.
I think my concern is, I think I wrote the comment in the
yes,
the
the
MR,
complexity.
so,
Yes.
yeah, because I'm just afraid that we might end up in a situation where I think only you can debug the types, and then I mean it might take quite some time for other developers to actually like touch the builder, the verification manager itself. And I think they might also be like scared of it, because I mean conditional types, even though they are simple topics, but
yes,
we don't use them every day. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you see in my screen? Do you see a Chrome, or do you still see the?
We still see your code.
Okay. I will just share the comment that you made. Oops. Okay, so this was the comment. Blah, blah, blah. I'm assuming that we will get this for free, so yes. And then there were your comment like, it looks good, but it looks complex. So yes, so the question is like, should I lower the bar, or should developer raise their bar? Right?
Yeah.
I have my opinion on the subject, but of course it's a Steam thing. So yes, I understand that it's, if I'm not around and the types are complex, it might be complex to debug. So it's also why I wanted to have feedbacks from people. What we can also do, for instance, for the moment, I can get rid of this, the hard part, but I can keep this part, which at least makes sure that the types on our side are correct. I think this is not too complex.
Yep.
It's just a matter of just separation of concern. Like I have a valid fragment, I have an invalid fragment, I have a skip fragment. And when I return a valid fragment, I expect data and so on and so on. So I think this part is at least not too hard enough. But for that one, I can just eventually skip it for the moment, and we can come back to this later.